It's good to have you back. Welcome back. This is Newslink Russia on ENCA. Now, whistleblowing is quite a critical weapon in the fight against corruption. It promotes integrity, accountability, and discourages graft. I mean, the decision to blow the whistle, on the other hand, can equally be daunting and often invites negative social consequences. So let's discuss this with Tebogo Khaas as he shares these very same sentiments. He's the founder and chair of Public Interest South Africa, joining me right now this morning to have this conversation. Tebogo, thank you so much for your time and a very warm good morning to you. And why is that so? I mean, in as much as oftentimes whistleblowing is encouraged, I think even young children are often encouraged by their parents and teachers to speak the truth and to tell when something is wrong. But we know in this country can equally be a daunting task.
It is certainly, and thank you for having me this morning to me. It is a very daunting task, and we've seen evidence in the sense that there is a stigma attached in some quarters to whistleblowing, where individuals who know something who has done wrong, they tend to keep to themselves, and for various reasons. Some of them, the common factor is fear. Fear of ostracization, fear of retaliation, fear of being excluded, fear of physical harm, and fear of so many other things. And it is that consideration that many people have to overcome, that fear that many people have to overcome, and to also consider their own personal safety before they can even think about blowing the whistle. Because oftentimes we find that those whom we've encouraged and they've gone on to blow the whistle, they tend to suffer the consequences of their good deeds. As you've seen, especially during the State Capture Commission hearings, most of them would be let go of, pumped up charges would be placed about them. You've got the likes of Martha, for example, Ngoye, who has had courts and tribunals saying she must be reinstated. And today she's still not reinstated, and she's suffering the personal cost of having to litigate against PASA, which is funded by you and I, taxpayers. And it is those type of consideration that we have to try and fight, to try and make sure that we take into account and fight against or push back against those who make life difficult for whistleblowers. Yeah. And it is not only at that level of state capture or at the national level, it is also whistleblowing at a local level. We talk about municipality, where you know people who plunder infrastructure, ESCOM infrastructure and rail lines and all that. And yet we all tend to turn a blind eye.
Where are the gaps, do you think? I mean, if we have programs such as the Witness Protection Program, we have law enforcement meant to assist whistleblowers in terms of protection, as I can imagine, the number of death threats at times they even receive. Where do you think the challenges lie in terms of all these campaigns, these initiatives and programs and institutions that are meant to assist in the protection of whistleblowers?
Yeah, forget about institutions, forget about other things. It starts with you and I, Jimmy. You know, you and I know who bought that stolen TV. You and I know who's got the copper smelting facility in their backyard. You and I know who's drawing electricity illicitly from a transformer. It's often our neighbors, our relatives, and we tend to keep a blind eye when you see those little, I wouldn't even call them little, but those type of antisocial behavior, starting. Because why? I believe as long as it doesn't affect me directly, why should I speak? But yet it would affect you directly, because if a transformer blows up in your neighborhood, electricity transformer blows up in your neighborhood, it's not only going to affect the neighborhood, it will affect those who live, yourself, if you also live in that neighborhood. And if you keep a blind eye knowing that your neighbor is stealing from the utilities, certainly that's not right. So it starts with you and I. We know we cannot expect police to be everywhere. We cannot expect a moral force or moral police. The only moral force is within us as individuals to be able to identify and speak out when you see wrongdoing. Because once we push back, criminals or those who want to do wrong, they also are mindful of the fact that they will not only be arrested, but they'll be detected. The chances of being arrested are high because there's detection and people will report on their wrongdoing and consequences will follow. And once consequences follows, we must make sure that people actually pay back for their transgressions insofar as their wrongdoings are concerned. And because we keep a blind eye, that's why you and I cannot walk in downtown Joburg because of fear that we could be marked and nobody will say a thing. They'll just walk around us as if nothing happened.
And I suppose it's for the very same reasons you're, sharing with us right now, Tebogo. You're saying that whistleblowers can actually teach South Africans a thing or two about safeguarding the country and the public interests of this country in all forms of society. Like you say, not only at corporate level, at executive level, at government level, it's on the ground in our communities with our neighbors, where, of course, we can extrapolate some of those lessons.
Absolutely. It's all about creating awareness. And what we're trying to also do with these awards is to enhance the awareness levels in communities that whistleblowing is a good thing. It is not something that should be shunned. It should be something that is embraced and encouraged, because it is only when we blow the whistle that those who are disposed to doing wrong will think twice before they do anything wrong, because we oftentimes believe that it is government's role to do X, Y, and Z, and yet it's, you and I know somebody who's harboring illegal people or illegal foreigners or undocumented foreigners, but we keep a blind eye because why? No, it doesn't affect me directly. Or somebody's benefiting from it financially because they're renting their bedrooms to a Zamazama who they know that they're plundering, they're committing crimes. It can go on and on and on. But we're saying in all facets of society, we need to make sure that we encourage people to speak up and make sure that whistleblowing is not deemed with the type of, or tainted with the type of bad connotations that seems to go along with it. But also, more importantly, we need to look back at those who have blown the whistle and suffer the consequences. What can we as society do? What is it that we as society ought to be doing to ensure that we ameliorate the hardships that have befallen them? What is it that government ought to be doing? And making sure that government actually does follow through on the commitments or promises that they make. And here we're talking about ensuring that those who've done good by the country, those who've managed to even, look at recently, the UIF, whistleblowers saved you and I, taxpayers, almost 55 billion that would have been lost to the fiscus had the transaction that is under a cloud now gone through. But it was because of those who pushed back within the entity itself, the UIF and the Department of Labor, that today the fiscus have been saved, the 5 billion rands, which could go to being used to actually fighting unemployment and be applied in areas where it is dearly needed. So I cannot overemphasize the importance of whistleblowers and the kind of financial impact that they've had in terms of saving the state. Otherwise, what monies that could have been lost to whistleblowing and greedy people.
Absolutely. And Tebogo, thank you so much for speaking to me about this. I'm sure you would have heard Tebogo speaking and referring to the awards. These are the inaugural Whistleblowers Awards. They expected to take place on the 26th of October. Quite important to note that right here in Johannesburg at Melrose Arch. Just looking at some of the categories which, of course, look to awarding certain individuals and organizations. They include the Individual Whistleblower Excellence Award. We have the Civil Society Champion Award, Investigative Journalism Excellence Award. We also have the Shepo Award, the Fallen Heroes of Integrity Award, and also another one, a special award for social justice. Professor Tulima Donsela, of course, expected to receive that honor, all to award whistleblowers, of course, and to ensure that they're further encouraged, and also encouraging other whistleblowers to come forward with any information that could progress society, but also save the public purse a lot of money, billions in rand, to the fiscus. All my thanks to Tebogo Khaas, who's the founder and chair of Public Interest South Africa.